What's up, guys? I know it's been a while. I know I haven't been uploading very much lately, and I regret that. I really do. I haven't been because, number one, my work schedule has been so crazy lately. I've been working like 9-hour shifts 5 or 6 days in a row with only one day off in between most of the time, and it's kind of hard to put content out there when most of the week you're not even in your own house. And I've been going through some personal family issues the past few months, so it's kind of hard to put things out there and do something when you're really not in the mood to. So I hope you guys forgive me for not uploading so much lately, but I'm going to try to do it a little more often. But for tonight, I want to give you guys a little update on some things that are going on with my band Chronic Decay. For those of you who don't know, I've been in an internet-based metal project with a friend of mine called Chronic Decay. We were originally a brutal death group, and we're sort of transitioning a little bit more into deathcore because of a lineup change over the past few months, and we've been trying to work hard and get a new EP out for you guys. But originally, we had put out what we thought was going to be a single called Architect of Suffering, but the version we put out there had quickly turned into a pre-production demo version because we had had a lot of production issues with it. We got a lot of harsh feedback that made us realize how many issues there really was with it, because we kind of rushed it a little bit. And we are actually remastering it and retracking everything. I completely retracked all the vocals because I got new equipment. I got a Shure SM7B and a new Scarlett solo interface, and John got some new stuff as well. So we're trying to make it the best quality that we possibly can, so that we can put it out there and have you guys really enjoy what we put out for you. Architect of Suffering is getting a remaster. We're going to rip the demo version off of all of the online platforms for purchase and leave it available probably on my YouTube and on Bandcamp or something for those who might want it. I don't know why you would, but then we're going to re-upload the remastered EP version of the single on all the same platforms for purchase. And like I said, we're trying our best, but our work schedules conflict, and it's just a shit show pretty much when it comes to trying to plan something. We've had so many deadlines that we've already missed because of our work schedules. We were supposed to have the whole EP like done and out by, well, months ago, but we haven't even gotten that far yet. Architect of Suffering is actually the only track that we have 100% finished and written and done. But we have bits and pieces of other things in the works, and we're trying to piece things together and get official tracks done and, completed. So it's just a slow process because John lives all the way down to Florida now. With him working different hours than I do, I just get home from work and he's just leaving for work, stuff like that. Or, I'm getting up for work and he's asleep because he works an overnight shift or something like that. It's always something. Or when one of us is free, the other one's not home, yada, yada, yada. So Chronic Decay is still up and running. We haven't broken up or anything like that. It's just a slow process for now, and we're trying our best to get the best content out for you guys in the coming months. And our next deadline, we're actually hoping to have the whole EP done and out and released sometime by the end of the summer. I'm not sure how that's going to work out at this point. We might see it by fall sometime. We're not even sure ourselves. But yeah, I'm going to be trying to put out more covers for you guys. I've only done 4 vocal covers since January, and that is nuts for me because I'm used to a couple years ago putting out covers every other week practically, or once a week for a while. And it bugs me that I haven't been doing that. So I'm going to be trying to put out more stuff for you guys, or even videos like this if you want. I can vlog or talk about whatever comes to mind, really. But I want to start putting more content out for you guys. But it's, like I said, it's hard with the situation I'm in right now. So anyway, I posted on Facebook a couple weeks ago that I was going to be doing a Q&A video. My subscribers could submit me questions that they wanted me to answer on camera, so I have a couple of those that I received, and I'll answer a couple of those right now for you. Alright, first question is, what band started it all for you? That is such a hard question for me. I don't even know if I have a correct answer for that question, because for those who don't really know me personally, I've been a metalhead for just about all my life. And I know it's strange to say that, but it's literally true. Like, when I was probably, I must have been 3.5 or 4 years old, probably closer to 3 years old, I got turned on to professional wrestling, and I started getting a knack for their entrance music and the real heavy riffs and stuff. That kind of grabbed me as a young child. That is kind of what started it for me, was the wrestling themes and hearing that heaviness coming from somewhere, because I wasn't used to that. I was used to the, kiddie music and the friggin' Backstreet Boys and NSYNC and all that other shit. I didn't really know what, metal or rock or whatever that really was at that age, so that kind of opened a door for me that there was a different kind of music out there, and I just gravitated towards it. So after I got turned on to the wrestling themes as a young child, my mom would buy me all of the WWF, the music albums, and a bunch of the wrestling memorabilia, and a lot of it came with the music. The more I started watching it on TV, the more new themes would come out and the new wrestlers, everything else. So that kind of came hand in hand with me getting turned on to heavy music and getting introduced to pro wrestling, which I'm still a fan of to this day, just because I've watched it all my life. So as I got older, my music taste kind of got heavier and heavier. I started listening to classic rock, and then I just started, finding different bands and hearing different stuff. And the older I got, the more brutal my music taste got. But as for the band that started it all for me, I really don't have an answer for that. If there was a band that made me decide that this is what I want to do for a living, it would have to be the Mitch Luker era of Suicide Silence, right around the time that they were doing No Time to Bleed into the Black Crown album cycle, because I finally saw them live at Mayhem Fest in 2011, and that was my first Mayhem, so it was all new stuff to me. But I got to see Mitch up front, up close and personal at that show, and it was so flawless, it was absolutely ridiculous. And with him being such an influence to me and such a massive inspiration in my life, watching just that atmosphere and that energy and that just pure raw, just, I don't even have a word for it. At that moment when I saw them play Disengage, especially live, and I heard it and watched it myself with my own eyes, that was a moment that I said, I'm doing this one day. So that is when I decided to start taking vocals more seriously and start to actually mold my techniques and get my own sound and try to pursue this as an actual thing. So I would have to say Suicide Silence is probably the be-all end-all for me. Not so much after Eddie took over though. I mean, they had a couple of good songs, but he just kind of turned me off some after that. I just don't think he fits the band well at all. Next question. This kind of ties into the story I just told. Favorite pro wrestler? I grew up watching the Attitude Era, pretty much, as far as WWE, WWF, whatever else goes. For those who don't really know much about wrestling or the history of it, you probably won't understand what I'm talking about when I say the Attitude Era. But that was the period from late 97 to, 2002 or something. That was when I was really starting to get into it as a young child. All the Attitude Era wrestlers, Triple H, Stone Cold, The Rock, Gangrel, Edge and Christian, the Dudleys, the Hardys, everybody. That was my niche back in the day. I didn't really have a specific favorite at that point. But, as a kid, I kind of gravitated towards John Cena. We all do when we're kids. But he's always been probably my favorite through the years. But as for the current roster, well, I do enjoy Roman Reigns. A lot of people hate his guts now. I don't understand why. I think it's just heat because Vince McMahon seems to be trying to force that guy on the fans the same way he did with Cena when he was first starting to get big. I'd have to say my favorite of the current era is probably Seth Rollins. I was very happy when I saw him come back recently because he had a very debilitating injury, and I'm just glad to see him come back from that. And before he left, he was at the top of his game for only being there for a couple of years, and he quickly became a big favorite of mine, even though he is a heel. but I think he's probably going to be carrying the company for a long time. What do I do for a living besides vocals? Well, I am a cart pusher at Walmart. For those of you who didn't see it, I had like a makeshift vlog channel that is probably still active. I haven't posted on it in almost a year because it pretty much went absolutely nowhere. But I posted some stories about things that I encountered as a cart pusher on there, and a couple people got a good laugh out of it. Yeah, I'm just a cart pusher at Walmart, just trying to make some money. I'm not really pursuing that, of course, as a lifelong choice. But, you know, I get paid decently by management. Everybody seems to like me up there. I can get time off when I need it. You know, I'm happy there for now. It's not a big deal that I'm doing that. I like the exercise. I actually kind of like the brutality of that job, because believe it when I say it, a lot of people think that that's a cake job. A lot of people think that, oh, that's so easy, a monkey could do it. No, it's honestly, take it from me, it is the most brutal job in retail as far as physicality goes. And you won't understand it until you go out there and you do it for yourself. A lot of people are going to think I'm bullshitting. I'm not. It really is a very rough job as far as, you know, retail stores go. And I like that kind of. I like the brutality of it. I like the physicality of it. I like the exercise, and I get along with the guys that I work with, so I'm happy with that for now. What music do I listen to other than metal? A lot, honestly. One big one for me is EDM, you know, trap, dubstep sort of stuff. A lot of people don't understand the EDM quote, but I think it stands for what, electronic dance music or something or other. It's some acronym. But I listen to a lot of EDM and trap music. That's always been a thing for me. And progressive house and stuff like that. Like deadmau5 was always a favorite of mine through the years. One big one that I've been into the past like year is an artist called Tycho. That's actually a band, but I think one guy produces and writes most of it. I think they're from California actually, but they're like this progressive ambient sort of like EDM-ish group, and they just put out some amazing stuff. Their entire Dive album is just perfection. That is one album that can actually put me to sleep in my insomnia. It's very relaxing and it's very ambient and just, it's like a feel-good album. It's all instrumental. So if you've never listened to Tycho before, look him up, listen to the Dive album. I highly recommend it. It's a beautiful work. And last question for now, do I mix fry scream technique with my false chord? A lot of people ask me this, and I've never really answered it before, because I don't really know if I have an answer for that, because it's hard to explain without showing you one-on-one. I did a vocal tutorial video about 3 years ago. It's still buried somewhere in my channel. I detailed every possible way that I could of how I do exactly what I do step by step. And it's still the same techniques that I use to this day. I've just molded it better and I sound better now than I did back then because, you know, over time there's always room for improvement. But yeah, I mean, in some ways I guess I could say that I blend false chord and fry, because I have sort of like a power fry technique that I use on some of my highs. Like if you guys had seen my original 15 covers in 3 minutes video that I did back in like December, I did a piece of Abysmal by Angel Maker, and the highs that I did in that portion of the cover were power fry. The second, I believe it was the second high scream line that I did was a power fry high in my own technique that I use, and I kind of blend false chord and fry in the sense that I use, like, if this even makes any sense, I use the throat formation of a fry scream but the power of a false chord, so it kind of gives it its own sort of feel to it, and that's kind of how I do that. I'm not going to demonstrate it right now because everybody's sleeping at this hour, and I'm not going to wake the dead. Yeah, that's kind of the only explanation I can really give for that. I do kind of sometimes do that. I kind of do mix the two techniques, but it's not really that often. It's usually just false chord that I use. And if I use fry at all, it's usually just to accentuate something or blend it with false chord. So yeah, that's kind of that. So yeah, like I said before, I'm going to try to upload more often. I'm going to try to get more covers out there for you guys when I have days off. or when things are going good here. Situation's kind of screwy at the moment, and yeah, mental illness is real. Believe that. So yeah, thank you guys for continuing to support me in my endeavors. I hope you enjoyed the video. I'll see you guys hopefully very soon in the next video. See you guys later.